Okay, I have to comment on a formula that was presented in an advanced undergraduate course in something very much like biostatistics, okay, where the instructions were given for this. And the instructions basically consist of a bunch of PowerPoints. Click on this, do this, click on this, do that, etc. No concept of any of the meaning of standard deviation, deviations, mean deviations, anything. Okay, just a formula. And the formula was presented as so. Okay, this is F2 minus 1.96, and this is G2 over the square root of 400. I don't know where to begin. This is, I find this, I mean, I've done things just as bad, okay? But inadvertently, and I don't think I ever posted them to PowerPoint, not throwing stones at other instructors. I still have trouble understanding how anybody could have done this. Yes, I understand perfectly well. Late at night, again, in a hurry, trying to assemble the thing, dealing with putting things into a PowerPoint slide and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, I understand how that could happen. But what I don't understand is the idea of using a formula like this when you could use a calculation scheme that actually had meaning from step to step. Okay, now what's wrong with this formula? Well, F2 contains a mean, an x bar, a value of the mean, an x. 1.96 is a z value that corresponds to how many standard deviations you've got to go to get to the 2.5% tail. Okay? They measure completely different things. These are totally incompatible quantities. Oh, let's talk about making mistakes. I think I could at least hit that ledge. Okay. You know, what do we have here? You know, here are our z's. They don't measure the same thing our x's do. But here we are subtracting a z from an x. You know, that's just totally ludicrous. And of course, I understand how that could be done because, and I don't need to find excuses for other instructors. I make mistakes too, okay? If I'm criticizing anything, it's using a formula where you could use a process that has meaning from step to step. Okay, let me collect my thoughts here for a minute. Yeah, my thought was that instructors certainly have an excuse for writing cumbersome expressions because when you write a sensible expression, Excel usually often doesn't execute it anyway. Excel is not a mathematics program. It doesn't follow the order of operations. You never know what's going to happen when you put a formula into Excel. But this is the formula that would do the correct calculation. You take F2, which is your mean, and you subtract 1.96 times this standard deviation of the means. The standard deviation of the means being G2 over the square root of 400 in this case. Okay? And it's that simple. Now, as I say, I think I did this because I was kind of following what people were doing, and it didn't work out at all. Numbers didn't work out even close. We ended up with the low CI and the upper CI not even containing the mean, much less having the mean in the middle. The mean was outside of the range of your lower and upper CI. Think about this picture. It makes no sense whatsoever. So that was kind of a flag, and of course, you know, I have some experience, so I picked up on that. Somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience with this sort of thing would be obviously confused, and you know, I confuse people sometimes too. Again, not throwing stones. Throwing a few stones at Excel. I have no idea why Excel is so bad at executing mathematics, but it would seem to me that that calculation would work just fine. However, why even bother with putting it all into one calculation? Why not calculate these things one step at a time so you have a chance of spotting errors and you're constructing a solution in terms of meaningful quantities? This standard deviation of the means is an essentially important idea in understanding any of this. Okay? And you're not going to be able to interpret it properly without understanding these things to some extent. You might fake it, but you're not going to have it. And in an advanced undergraduate course, I certainly think you ought to be expected to understand it. With apologies, because I know about time constraints and demands and everything else. So, calculate the standard deviation of the means. Just F2 over the square root of 400 here, F2 over the square root of 600 here. And you get these numbers. Multiply by 1.96. 1.96 times whatever column this is. If this is column H, it'd be 1.96 times H. You get these numbers. Then this number minus this number. F2 minus, what is this, I2, 3.31. F2 plus I2, 4.09. And there you have your lower and upper confidence intervals. I do not understand throwing a formula of this nature at people, especially when the formula is wrong, of course. Again, that's forgivable. And I'm not the ultimate judge. I just have trouble with this sort of approach in a course at this level. And of course, what I ultimately have trouble with is an education system that's built on our elementary and secondary system, because it's all a block built upon a block, built upon a block, and pretty soon you have a blockhead. So, I deal with it too in my courses, but everybody has to deal with it, and everybody has different administration, has to deal with the administration who wants FTEs, etc. There are all kinds of things going on there, so I don't want to be too hard on the instructors. I'm sure they know more statistics than I do, but I do have a problem here. I'm sorry.